So, I'm a little late. I was feeling sick for the past few weeks. Might have caught the thing, don't know yet. But if you know what I'm referring to by the thing, I'm not going to elaborate because YouTube. But we are going to push on ahead. I feel a little bit better right now. I'm not as congested. And I can breathe for more than 20 seconds. So, we're going to go on ahead and tackle this trio of episodes before we get to the next arc, because these three episodes will make a pretty good arc for Revice. So I'm gonna talk about them now. And also, because of a mixture of YouTube controversies, we're gonna scale back on the clips. I'm just gonna scale back on the still images, because if you don't know what's going on with AndyTube, I recommend looking up that guy in a Suede's video, or just Suede's video, about what's going on with the Show Pro, the guys playing the Pokemon anime. And and if you're thinking, what does that have to do with Kamen Rider? Well, if Show Pro does it, there's a good chance Toei's gonna do it, because Toei are assholes. I mean, look what they did to Toei Not Mark like 2 months ago. So with that all said, and with this channel already having seen the Wrath of Show Pro at one point, also the Wrath of Coca-Cola for a weird bit, I'm not going to take any chances and just not have as many images to represent the episodes in question. Probably just going to stick it to one or two pivotal things for the episode recaps, and maybe of just one or two for the final summation at the very end. So let's move on to the episodes. This part has gone on too long, and the plug is still up, so yeah. Let's move on. We have episode 19, Demon's Warning, Hiromu's Siege. So this is an episode, well, this entire trilogy of episodes kind of focus a lot more on Hiromi, thank God, because this man needed more screen time with his cool suit. We'll talk about that later when we get to that episode. But the main crux of this episode is that two of Hiromi's friends from back when he was training in the olden days are confronting him about his new position as the somewhat leader of Phoenix, as well as his position as demons. Also, because obviously trivia, his friend who's a girl, I forget her name, she's played by the actress who played the Pink Ranger in Lupin Ranger vs. Pata Ranger. Specifically, she was the Pink Pata Ranger. I think she was the second one, or Nego, for that team. I don't remember. It's been a while. And the other one, his male friend, was an actor who played the human form of an Ultraman. I forget which one. I think it was Ultraman Gaia. Don't quote me on that. I might have fucked up. But yeah, so they are confronting him. Oh, his friends are Tatsuhiko, who is the dude who was Ultraman, and Chigusa, who was the Pata Ranger. She's here to steal back her screen time. So basically, they're confronting him about his new position as demons, and they both want him to quit for various reasons. This is where we get into the whole Phoenix being shady thing. So obviously, this leads to a big confrontation, where Hiromu also discovers the beginning of the episode, he discovers that the Demon's Driver, at least the stress from using the Demon's Driver, is internally rapidly aging his body to the point where he's physically an 80-year-old man. He's not that on the outside, but only on the inside, so his organs should be shutting down anytime soon. And yeah, they are fighting him, and Oceletta is trying to get his hands on the Demon's Driver. And well, for the most part, this episode is just a friend drama until we get towards the very end, in which it's revealed that Chigusa is actually working for the Dead Men. She is sided with Oceletta because Phoenix is a shady organization and she wants to bring it down. This also has the hint of the Dead Men, or at least Phoenix being a very shady organization, which they kind of are and have been the entire time. And also at the end of the episode, we get the revelation that the Demon's Driver has a demon inside of it, and now it's talking to him. Also, the demon's driver is voiced by Seto Kaiba's Japanese voice actor. So that's just really cool. I cannot lie to you. So this leads to Chigusa and friends basically having a literal standoff before her and Osaleta get away, and we have another Giftarian fight, and that ends the episode. So let's talk about the next one. Episode 20. Breathing. Episode 20, Ruthless and Temporary, The Price of Transformation. Honestly, despite the mouthful of a title it is, I kind of love it. Mainly because of the last part of it. Anyway, so obviously, Chigusa got away with Osaleta, and his guy friend Tatsuhiko basically gives her the fucking death flag because he says to him to save her. And yeah, death flags all around. Everyone gets a death flag. So yeah, Hiromi is trying to hide the demon's driver because it's basically talking to him, saying that it wants to devour his life because that's basically what's been aging him on the inside, because it's been eating away at his soul, spirit, intestines. I don't exactly know what it's feeding off of, but it's feeding off a lot of it. So, he has that going down, and Ikki is basically wanting to do what he can to protect Hiromi, while Daiji's also a bit nervous. So this all eventually leads, because it's Kamen Rider, to a big confrontation where Chigusa calls out Hiromi, or Chigusa and Osaleta call out Hiromi. We also get some peeks at Osaleta's backstory, and he's basically light from Death Note light, because he was originally some hyper genius kid who was like, oh, no one in the world is at my level, I want a connection with somebody. And then this super sketchy old guy invites him to the Dead Men's cult, I guess back in its early days, so he can be one of the founding members of the cult. And so that's when he joins up with the Dead Men's cult, and we also learn that Gifu-sama is apparently some kind of entity that will advance humanity in one way or another. And that's his ultimate goal, is to awaken Gifu-sama so Gifu can advance humanity to be at his level, or at least elevate him. So, again, he's like a little wannabe light. Like, at least a little light, because it's like, I was originally some super genius who no one could connect to. Is a generic backstory? Yes. Does it work for his character? Also, yes. So, obviously, Hiromi and Chigusa calls out Hiromi, because obviously still has his number, and this obviously leads to a confrontation with Osaleta and her. They want the demon's driver, but he wants the Gifu stamp. But, as it turns out, obviously he's not alone, because Ikki and Sakura have made a counter plan, as they've made a deal with Osaleta and Giulio. I know he's not doesn't call himself Giulio now, but I'm so used to calling him Giulio, I can't help myself. So that they can get their hands on the Gifu-sama stamp, while also distracting Osaleta so that they can give him the Rider Stomp and get rid of him. And it leads to a really cool battle. Like, everyone gets a bit of time to be cool. We get a rapid form transformation out of Revice. Probably the last one, considering the fact he is, 2 upgrades in? Like, two super forms in past the standard forms. So this is probably the last time we're going to see all the standard Revice forms. Which, if this is how they go out, that would be pretty cool. At least give them one last display of being awesome, unlike most shows in which they're kind of just unceremoniously phased out of the series, which is kind of sad to see every time it happens, but it gotta happen at some point. Anyway, Ikki fights, and it's really cool, and So before the actual fight starts, obviously they're fighting a bunch of Gift Juniors. But remember what I said about death flags? Well, Ocelot decides to be the biggest dick in the show ongoing and gives her the Giftarian stomp and turns her into a Giftarian, chickens her into a Giftarian, effectively killing her. So this leads to demons fighting the Giftarian in a really cool fight. So obviously this is going to be his last demons fight. So as his last fight, it's a really cool fight. And remember, they got Oceletta and Julio on board to help them take out Oceletta. So they basically give him the Rider Stomp and manage to separate him from his demon so he no longer has his squid form. So he no longer has a squid form and is arrested. But obviously someone's seen the Dark Knight because this shit keeps happening. That's for next episode, though. Also, Ikki managed to kick the demon's driver, off of Hiromi, and the episode ends with Hiromi telling telling Ikki and Daiji. For some reason, I keep wanting to say Shindai siblings, but their last name is not. Their last name is Igarashi. So this Igarashi siblings, but Shindai siblings just rolls off the tongue so much better. But either way, that's from Saber. But anyway, he tells the two brothers that the demon's driver has a demon in it, and Vice, because he actually sensed the demon earlier in the episode, responds to that being like, I was right, or at least that's what I sensed earlier in his own way. So yeah, also we get a moment of Vice taking off his face mask and chomping down on some curry. He finally got his curry for being a good boy, and apparently whatever his face truly is horrific. And I want to see, although they probably don't have a puppet of that. And now we are at the last episode of this set, thank God. Episode 21, Lay Down My Life and Trust My Feelings. So you know someone's gonna fucking die with a title like that. Obviously, this episode has one big reveal. Well, technically two big reveals. As we find out, there's an Attack on Titan joke in here. What's in the basement? But we're not there yet. So the episode actually starts off with Hiromi basically resigning from Phoenix after, losing one of his friends and basically being made, I guess you could say, almost, what's the right word for this? Basically, he's been made kind of just inert because of the use of the Demon's Driver, and can no longer use it without dying. At the same time, during karate, Sakura is invited by Hikaru, the kind of weird classmate with the weird family, to join him for dinner at his house. And when she does, she is attacked by a group of masked people. I would say masked men, but we later find out there are some women amongst the people who attack her. And she makes her way into the basement fighting them, in which she finds out her karate mate. I don't know if he actually goes to school with her, so I can't say classmate, but I know they go to the same karate place. He is part of a mysterious group that is mostly his family and randos called Weekend. There's even a kind of funny joke here. Well, I say kind of funny because it's not 100% funny, where they say, "We are Weekend. Welcome to Weekend." And she's like, "I thought it was a weekday," which is kind of a funny joke, despite the fact that Rider airs on Sundays. It is on Sundays in Japan too, because time zones. Anyway, so while that's going on, Ikki and friends, or George basically brings Ikki and friends to see the gift statue, and Vice has a bad reaction to it, as he does every time the gift statue seems to start acting up. It gives him a massive migraine as it pulsates, and basically the director comes out and tells them that they're researching a gift statue because they want to use it to separate humanity from their demons. Which, that sounds sketchy. That sounds incredibly sketchy. Especially considering what you know now about the Demon's Driver. All this is sketchy. Oh, Sakura's also given a mission to get back the gift Vice stamp. At the same time, It's kind of funny too because she actively does go after Osaleta in order to get back the gift five stamp, and manages to beat her down quite easily. Even she's like, "Weren't you like you're weaker now for some reason?" The power levels in this show keep fluctuating, but it's working to the drama, so I don't mind that much. So she gets the Gifu Vice, Gifu stamp back, and takes it to Icky, who's helping Nurse Vice back because Vice is still having his headaches from the gift statue that he should probably not go near ever again. Uh, only for Vice to reveal that the gift stamp that they have is actually fake. Yeah, it turns out Osaleta still has the true gift Vice stamp and gives it to the director when he goes to visit him in his cell, just in time for Hiromi to basically turn in his papers. So this all leads to the Phoenix ship going down. The helicarrier is crashing, and Iron Man's not around to help lift it out of the sky, help lift it back into the sky this time. Daiji is at the controls of the ship for some reason. I don't know if he has authorization to pilot that thing. I guess maybe he does. I'm not sure. But Hiromi takes control of the piloting and lets Daiji go deal with Osaleta, who's on the bridge. And, I guess that'll be the deck of the ship. Before Osaleta transforms for the first time into the new Kamen Rider demons. And to separate the two, and to go along with the Spider-Man joke I saw on Twitter, I'll be referring to this as superior demons. As we find out, he is very compatible with the driver. Even the driver questioning if Osaleta is actually a demon or not, which is kind of funny. Anyway, obviously the thing crashes. Everyone shows up to the fight. Icky and Sakura are the only two who weren't there. So now everyone shows up to the fight, only to get combo stomped on by superior demons, who is very compatible with the driver, as I stated earlier. At least a really cool fight. Ultimately, Hiromi steps in to join the battle, using Live's gun, which I didn't know he could use. I didn't know that could be used outside of being transformed, but apparently it can, because he's using it to shoot at her as superior demons. And it inevitably leads to, we're a little past Christmas. It's February now, so it's not the Christmas death, but it's the Christmas death. Like, seriously, we're 3 for 3 on these so far. And if you count going back to X-A, that's like 5 of these babies, because we've had a major death to end the first half of every show since X-A, I think. Did anyone die? Except for our hopes in Zio? I don't remember. I don't want to bother rewatching Zio until I have to. So Hiromi is dead, but considering the fact that we're also 2 for 3 right now of mid-season with the new suit revivals, even if it's a repurposed old suit, looking at you, I forget what his name is from Saber. And we didn't see the body. He just fell off a cliff. There's a good chance he's alive, and he might come back later as another writer, which would be kind of impressive to actually happen, considering the whole internally aged to be an 80-year-old man. But the episode ends with him telling them to investigate Phoenix because they're sketchy as shit. Sakura decided to join the weekend, and the director laughing his ass off as his plans are going smoothly. And Osaleta is the new demons. And that is the episode. A lot of shit just went down, and I kind of love it. So how does this little trilogy of episodes hold up? My personal opinion, they were really great. It's a really good trifecta for Hiromi. Obviously, these episodes put a big focus on his character with his friends, and then the whole "you can't trust Phoenix" thing. And obviously, with his character arc being kind of finished already, and he's basically going to take the whole forward motion, kind of ironically like Caliber in Saber, and the whole "you can't trust the organization." Although he wasn't a bad guy. So it's kind of funny how very much like Caliber from Saber he is when I think about it. At least towards his final moments, because someone stole his shit. and he has, and he is gone for now. Like, he might come back. He's probably gonna be staying dead though. Uh, but it was still really cool to have him around. Like, he got his episodes in. It was really cool. We got to see a lot more Phoenix's shady side that was kind of hinted at this whole time. You know, it was kind of just out in the air that Phoenix is a shady organization that at some point they're gonna become the enemy. I mean, it's kind of standard of Kamen Rider that some part of the starting faction is gonna become an enemy. Like, how many seasons have we had when this happens? Like, shit, it's happened twice in a row. Saber did this storyline, but I think Revice will do it better. Also, for like, I know we didn't have it for episode 20. We didn't have the OP for like 2 episodes, at least 2 episodes straight, which I haven't seen that happen since X-Aid, which is probably a really good sign for at least how important the plot is to this show, which I'm happy for that. I would love them to make the plot more important because I want more important plot. Yeah. So these three episodes were really good. I'm happy with where the plot's going. I'm happy that the standard Revice forms at least got one last rapid form change cool moment before we put them on the shelf for the rest of the show, because it feels like they're going to be put on the shelf for the rest of the show, which, yeah, it happens in every season, but I'm just happy they got at least one more cool moment. And I kind of wish every show going forward would at least give the standard forms one good rapid form change moment just to be really cool and memorable to the fans. You know, we had these forms for at least 2. We had these forms for 20 episodes. They deserve some respect. You know, that's almost half the series. Or if the series gets 60 episodes, that'll be a third of the series. But you know what I mean. Obviously, the standout character besides Hiromi is Osaleta, who continues to be the biggest dick, and I love it. I love the asshole. Like, the character who is making the biggest stink is oftentimes one of my favorites. Except for certain cases. Here's looking at you, Rent-A-Girlfriend. Yes, I did. I do kind of sort of read that manga. Anyway, enough about my trash taste. Anyway, so this was a fun episode, or a set of episodes, and I really want to get them out of the way before we go into the next episode, which I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, because it's a guest star episode, because they have some comedians showing up, and those can be 50-50, but it feels like it's going to be a plot-heavy episode. Oh, also, Superior Demons. One, I'm happy to see the demon suit continue to be used by somebody, even though Hiromi's dead, quote unquote dead. 2, I'm happy that it gets a really cool showing. It adds to the idea of superior demons, but I'm kind of sad that Osaleta does not use, at least he hasn't used it so far, his giant squid vice stamp. Like, he might still have it, I don't know, but it would be really cool if he uses his vice stamp as one of the Gen X's to equip a form, just because, you know, he's been so attached to squids, or at least that's been his motif this whole time, so it feels a bit weird for him to suddenly abandon that for Spider. Also, I wonder if he's going to get a new outfit, considering the fact that the Deadmans effectively are dead now. Because he has no way of making Giftarians, because he gave the gift revice stamp over to the director guy. So I wonder if he's going to change outfits instead of cosplaying as he does. Like, I wouldn't mind it either way, but still, I kind of want him to change his outfit. Also, I want Osaleta to change her outfit too. Well, speaking of, yes, the power scaling. Osaleta had a good showing in these episodes. At least, even though she was basically a bit player, it was still cool for her to have what screen time she did have in a cool way. And I also love Julio's continued role as her assistant / simp, but in a good way, because he wants her to be better, and not sacrifice her life for a cult that may not have her same ideals. But he has to get cut through all the possibly years of brainwashing they did to this poor child. She's around Sakura's age, and in that flashback, she was like, what, 6? That's like a decade's worth of brainwashing he has to work through. But, it is so cool to see them whenever they do pop up, and cool that, he's still sticking with her, and that she's not abandoning him, which does show at least the nicer villains, despite the lies and attempted murder. I mean, despite the, everything else they've done in the entire series so far. They're the likable villains compared to Osaleta fucking becoming the biggest asshole, and I love it. And yeah, next week promises to be interesting at the very least, and hopefully I'll feel well enough to at least do that episode by itself. So until next time, everybody,